fame. It looks so glamorous from the outside. The sold-out arenas, the platinum records, the adoration. It's the dream, right?
Absolutely. It's what so many artists aspire to. But you and I have seen enough to know that behind that glittering facade, there are stories that feel less like dreams and, honestly, more like cautionary tales.
Exactly. Welcome to Rock Legends 2025, Bands, Tours, and History, where we really love to dig into those untold corners of music's biggest moments. And today's episode, Meltdowns, Scandals, and Career Flameouts, is going to take us deep behind the headlines that have made even legends fall silent.
Because sometimes, Lydia, the loudest sound in rock isn't the guitar solo or the cheering crowd. It's the deafening crash that comes after the applause dies down. We're talking about those moments where the line between art, persona, and actual life just completely blurs, often with devastating consequences.
When we talk about blurring lines, my mind immediately jumps to Marilyn Manson. He literally made a career out of chaos, out of outrage, that whole shocking performance art, the eyeliner, everything.
Oh, absolutely. Manson was the embodiment of pushing boundaries. For years, his whole aesthetic was this dark, provocative horror show, and it resonated with so many people who felt like outsiders. He was controversial, sure, but it was all part of the act, or so it seemed.
Yeah, exactly. But then 2021 hit, and that horror show, it turned incredibly real. Multiple women, including his ex-fiancée Evan Rachel Wood, came forward, accusing him of abuse, and suddenly, the line between performance and disturbing reality just vanished.
It was swift, too. Even with his denials, the industry didn't hesitate. He was dropped by his label, blacklisted, essentially finished. It's wild to see how quickly a persona that was once celebrated can become the very thing that undoes you when those accusations become public.
And the impact on his career, it's undeniable. From being this icon of shock rock to, well, virtually erased from mainstream conversation. It just shows how fast that line between art and accountability can disappear.
Speaking of disappearing, but for very different and much more severe reasons, R. Kelly. For years there were whispers, right? Just these persistent rumors circulating in the industry, in the media, but nothing really stuck for a long, long time.
Oh, the whispers were deafening if you paid attention. But it truly came to a head in 2017 with that sex cult expose, and that just pulled every secret into the harsh light. It was no longer just whispers, it was documented, it was victims coming forward, it was undeniable.
And by 2021, the legal system had caught up. Guilty on all counts, 30 years in prison. I mean, he once famously sang about believing he could fly. Now, his legacy? It's a tragic, shameful stain that's never going to leave the ground.
It's a complete collapse. And what's so disturbing is that the allegations were there for decades. It really makes you question how much the industry knew, how much was ignored because of his talent and success.
It's a dark chapter in music history, one that forces a lot of uncomfortable conversations about accountability and protecting vulnerable people. Let's shift gears slightly to someone who intentionally courted controversy, but in a very different way. Alice Cooper.
Oh, Alice! In the 1970s, he was every parent's worst nightmare, the boogeyman they warned you about. The snakes on stage, the fake blood, that guillotine act. It sent headlines into absolute meltdown, but in a way that he totally intended, right?
He loved it. He got banned, protested, condemned, and it just fueled his fire. For Alice Cooper, controversy wasn't a mistake, it was the brand. He turned fear into theater, masterfully. It was shocking, but it was also undeniably art, albeit very dark art.
And that's the fascinating distinction, isn't it? He was controlling the narrative, orchestrating the outrage. It was a performance that everyone knew was a performance, even if they were genuinely freaked out. It highlights the difference between an artist intentionally shocking an audience versus, actual criminal behavior.
Absolutely. It was theatrical, not predatory. But then you have a case like Chris Brown, where a single, deeply regrettable act completely redefined his public image overnight. 2009 changed everything for him, didn't it?
It really did. The photos of Rihanna's bruised face, they weren't just tabloid fodder. They were a stark, brutal image that permanently stained his reputation. He went from being this pop prince, America's sweetheart, to a pariah.
And, to his credit, he apologized, he worked to rebuild, he kept making music and performing. His career, in a way, survived. He still has a massive fan base. But that stain, as you said, it's never left. It's a permanent part of his story now.
It truly is. Some mistakes, no matter how much time passes, they just don't fade in radio rotation. They become part of the narrative you can never escape. And it poses a difficult question for fans. Can you separate the art from the artist when the personal actions are so egregious?
That's a question we grapple with constantly in this industry. From Chris Brown, let's jump across the pond and back in time a bit to a band that didn't just break the rules, they declared war on them, the Sex Pistols.
Oh, the Sex Pistols. They weren't playing music, they were delivering a sneering, spitting manifesto. God Save the Queen was banned by the BBC, absolutely blasted by politicians, and yet, that just made them immortal, didn't it?
That's the punk rock paradox. The more they were told no, the louder their message became. They didn't just break the rules, they made rule-breaking an art form. They were public menaces in the eyes of the establishment, and that was their greatest triumph.
It was pure rebellion, pure anarchy, and the headlines they generated were exactly what they wanted. It wasn't an accident or a mistake, it was a deliberate provocation. They used the media, they used the outrage to amplify their message. What a contrast to someone like Gary Glitter.
A stark, chilling contrast. Gary Glitter. His story is just utterly tragic and abhorrent. Once, his song Rock and Roll Part 2 shook arenas. It was synonymous with sporting events, a real anthem. Now, it's virtually scrubbed from playlists, deleted from soundtracks.
He became a ghost of pop culture. Convicted of multiple sex crimes, Gary Glitter is this horrifying example of when the artist becomes the villain. And in his case, the silence feels not just earned, but necessary. It's a total erasure, and rightly so.
It's one of those cases where you actively try to disassociate the music from the person, but it's almost impossible when the crimes are so heinous. It's a complete tainting of anything he ever produced. And it makes you wonder about the long-term impact on how we consume art.
It really does. Now let's go back even further, to rock's very first major scandal, Jerry Lee Lewis, the Killer.
Oh man, Jerry Lee Lewis. His raw talent, his piano-pounding energy, he was electrifying. But then the world found out he married his 13-year-old cousin. It was 1958, and even then that was a scandal of epic proportions.
His tour collapsed overnight. His fame, which was meteoric, just evaporated. He kept playing for decades afterwards, a true survivor. But that spotlight, that mainstream adulation he once had, it never truly forgave him. It was rock's first big lesson. Talent doesn't erase the truth.
It showed that even in the Wild West of early rock and roll, there were lines you just couldn't cross without severe repercussions. It really set a precedent for how these kinds of personal scandals could derail a career, no matter how iconic you were.
From a scandal that halted a career, to a band that seemed to thrive on chaos, Mötley Crüe. For them, sex, drugs, arrests, it wasn't a scandal, it was practically a sales strategy.
You're absolutely right. Their book, The Dirt, reads like a police report and a movie script rolled into one. It's almost unbelievable how much they got away with. Self-destruction wasn't a mistake for them, it was baked into the brand.
They lived fast, and somehow they survived slower. They were the quintessential bad boys of rock, and they embraced it. But even for them, there were consequences, right? I mean, they were often prisoners of their own legend, facing personal struggles and legal troubles that were very real.
Oh, absolutely. The lifestyle took a toll, both individually and on the band. The difference with Mötley Crüe was they were almost expected to be outrageous. It was part of their appeal. Their wrong reasons were almost right reasons for their fans. It's a weird dynamic.
It is, it's a very weird dynamic. And it highlights how some artists can cultivate a bad boy image that's almost bulletproof, while others fall from grace for similar, or often far less, transgressions. It's all about how the public perceives it. Speaking of perception, Ryan Adams.
Ryan Adams. Man, that one hit hard for a lot of people. He wrote these incredibly sensitive, heartbreaking anthems that resonated with so many. You cried in your car to his songs, right?
Totally. He was seen as this poetic, tortured artist. Then came the 2019 New York Times expose, and suddenly that sensitive rock star image just crumbled. Accusations of manipulation, gaslighting, emotional and psychological abuse from multiple women, including his ex, Mandy Moore.
It was devastating. He issued an apology, disappeared for a while, and tried a comeback that never really got off the ground. It turns out the saddest song he ever wrote was his own career. His reputation went from acclaimed songwriter to a figure of controversy, and the industry really turned its back.
It's a powerful reminder that the facade of the sensitive artist can hide some very dark truths, and the exposure in the age of social media and rapid information sharing can be incredibly swift and comprehensive. Which brings us to Kris Wu.
Kris Wu, the global phenomenon. A superstar in China, breaking into Hollywood, seen as global pop's next big thing. He had everything going for him, incredible momentum.
Absolutely. a huge idol bridging Eastern and Western pop cultures. But then in 2021, accusations of rape surfaced, and within what felt like mere days, he was arrested, faced trial, and ultimately received a 13-year prison sentence. His music, his image, everything was erased overnight.
It was an incredibly swift and absolute downfall. Fame turned to fallout with shocking speed. It really shows how in this age of digital idols and instant information, a downfall can travel just as fast, if not faster, than the rise to stardom.
Yeah, it's global, instantaneous, and comprehensive. There's no hiding. These stories really are a testament to the fact that fame is like an echo. It amplifies everything, the good, the genius, and the guilt. It just makes it all louder, for better or worse.
It's true. These aren't just scandalous stories for tabloid fodder. They're really powerful reminders that even legends, people we idolize for their talent, can lose the plot entirely. And the consequences, as we've seen, can be career-ending, legacy-destroying, and in some cases, life-altering.
Absolutely. It's a lot to think about, isn't it? Thanks for tuning in to Rock Legends 2025 Bands, Tours, and History. We appreciate you joining us for these deep dives.
If this episode gave you something to reflect on, please do share it with a friend or fellow music lover. And remember, keep the volume low when the truth gets loud, but never stop listening for those lessons.
Indeed. Until next time, keep your records spinning and let's all try to keep those headlines clean, shall we? Take care, everyone.